And what is that, the 56?
Yeah.
Okay, one more. Sweet. Good, keep going with that. Is this a club would you typically grab the 56 for
Yes.
nearly all your shots around the green?
Right.
The 56 is certainly going to be the right club for a lot of shots, but there are some shots that's not the right club. Go ahead and hit a couple. So this is new to use this club?
Yeah, these are pitching.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Now you'll certainly notice here you have a lot of experience, very little experience, but this club beat that club today.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Tony, you say that you typically will use your sand wedge for all shots around the green, and that when I had you using your pitching wedge, that was a fairly new club for you to try to use from closer to the green positions. When you are a short distance off the green and the flagstick is a pretty good distance away from you, then you want to have a small carry distance and then a longer roll distance. When trying to decide what type of shot to hit or what club to use from around the green, the first thing you want to do is kind of visualize the shots you want to play. When visualizing these shots, you want to determine where you think the ball needs to hit the green in the air. That spot is your target. The hole is not your target, but where the ball is going to hit the green is your target. High shots roll less and low shots roll more. The target for a high shot is much further away from you than the target for a low shot. As a general rule, when both a low shot and a high shot can be hit to stop close to the hole, always choose the low shot because the target is closer to you. When hitting to a close target, you will use a shorter and simpler swing and be more consistent. For these shots, you would want to use a club with less loft than a sand wedge. It's common to use an 8-9 or pitching wedge for these shots. As you practice with each of these clubs, you will discover what's best for you. With these clubs, you'll be using a shorter, simpler, and slower swing. Because you're using a slower swing, the difference between hitting the ball perfect and not so perfect is only a few yards. And many times your miss will be just as close to the hole as if you had hit it just right. If you were trying to use a more lofted club and hit it further in the air and further away from you, you would have to have a faster swing. And the difference between hitting it perfect and blading the ball or hitting it less than perfect can be as much as 20 yards. You can scull it right over the green. Sculling a shot over the green is virtually impossible when using a lower lofted club. When the grass is tightly mown between you and the green, I would strongly consider using a putter. Even when you're 10 to 15 feet off the green, if the grass is smooth, the right club for most golfers will be the putter. One of the cliches in golf is that your worst putt will be better than your worst chip. Using a putter from off the green is not something just the high handicappers do. Even the top PGA players will often use their putter when the conditions warrant it. When you get further from the front of the green, you will need more carry. When hitting low lofted clubs with more carry, you often get too much roll and a more lofted club will be required. For these longer chip and pitch shots, you will often use a pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, or lob wedge. When the carry distance is a lot greater than the roll distance, then you will need more stopping power, and you would need to use your sand wedge or lob wedge. If you were here going to toss a ball with that stick, you wouldn't try to toss it really high. You might just kind of toss it low and let it run up there. So what you would do with your arm that makes sense is what you want to do with a club, in a sense. Now, if I'm way back here and someone says, toss this ball, but you have to hit the green in the air, I can't toss it low, it'll go too far, it'll run off. I've got to toss it higher. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're going to work on that. One of the things that we've got to focus on first is I like to teach the hands first. I like to make sure that the hands are swinging correctly. And watch how when I come through, when I set up, it's almost like the letter Y, kind of a crooked letter Y. This is the top of the Y, and that's the stem of the Y. When I finish, I still kind of have my Y together. You have a tendency to do this, to what we call cup that left wrist. You come down with the handle, the left hand is coming down, and everything's in sync. But then you stop this and let this keep going. So what you're going to do is you're going to swing and hold. Okay. Hold it right there. There you go. Your left hand was all the way to here. It didn't stop here. It didn't stop. And so you then stop in the left hand here and let it club go through. Now you're swinging the left hand through. Swing the left hand through. Good. Very good. Good. You did those multiple swings really good. And you held your finish. And there was no distraction of the ball. And you were able to accomplish what we had chosen to do. I asked you to finish and hold your finish. It looked like this, and you did exactly that. So we're going to swing at the golf ball. And your subconscious has to think about hitting the ball, but I don't want you to change what you were thinking about then. Your job is the exact same job, even though now there's a ball present. Your subconscious has to figure out how to hit the ball. You consciously are going to try to swing and have that same pose, same tempo, same speed, everything's the same. One of the other things I want to add, we need to hit this ball with a descending ball. So we need to be, what we call the attack angle has to be down. We don't want to get to our lowest point and then try to go up into the ball, because that's what's going to call skulls, and that's what's going to call hitting it fat. The low point, every golf swing has a low point. There's a point at which it stops going down and starts going back up again. That's the low point. You need to position the low point in front of the ball.
In front of the ball.
In front of the ball. Now, here's how we do that. If I put my weight on my back foot and my hands behind the ball, I put my low point back here. If I put my weight on the left foot and my hands in front of the ball, I put my low point in front of the ball. So we've got to set up and have a little more weight on your left side. And your hands have what we call a shaft, a little bit of a shaft loop. So the club will be, your hands will be slightly in front of the ball like that. Like this. Do a couple practice swings first. So I want you to feel like you've got 60% of your weight here and 40 there. So you've got more weight on your right foot. And you want to feel like and stay there in your backswing. I don't want you rocking to your back foot. Stay on that left side. There you go. Now, the thing you did really well then when you came through is you moved even more to the left, which is excellent. Tony, we're going to take a look at your pitching technique. On the left was the technique you were using before I made some adjustments, and on the right is how your pitching technique changed a little bit after we did some adjustments. I'm going to go frame at a time with your swing on the left. As you go back, hands are about waist high. And as you come through, I want you to pay particularly attention to your left hand. And you'll notice that your left hand right here, as you keep going through, has a severe break, and this right hand kind of gets rounded right there. And you're cupping the back of that left wrist as you come through. And we worked a little bit on this and trying to keep that left hand moving forward and not let that left hand cup as much. So let's go through the swing on the right now. This is one of your practice swings. You really made some good execution of this technique when there was no ball there. but it's the one I want to show you so that you'll know what to practice. So as you come through, that left hand keeps going through. When your hands are past your leg here, you still have a nice straight arm here, and you have that letter Y going through. In fact, your hands get all the way to here, and you still have not really cupped your wrist. So you can see a big difference between those two swings, and that here you have all these angles. You can see how this right arm and right hand is going right to the target. You can also see how your eyes are still down, and on the left you are flipping the club head through the ball instead of swinging the entire club through the ball. So that's a very good improvement in your technique. And so you're going to want to practice trying to have this pose, this look with your hands waist high on the other side, with both hands swinging through and not letting that handle stop so quickly. On this next comparison, I'm going to look at your weight shift during the swing for this little pitch shot. I've drawn a red box from the center of your ankles to the top of your head. And you can see on the left, this is before I made some adjustments in your weight shift, how all your weight is on your back foot. And on the right, I wanted you to have more weight on your left foot. And you did make an adjustment, and you certainly have moved more towards your left foot. But as you continue to practice this, I really want you to feel like your head is in between your feet and your hips are closer to being on top of your left foot. So try to have a lot more feeling of weight on your left side, more weight on your left side than your right side. Now, as I go back on the left, we're going to take a look at your movement as you even rock further to the right in your backswing. And then as you come through, watch your left foot. You'll actually see it kind of come off the ground right there as you fall back. And so you kept yourself outside the box, and your left heel came off the ground as you did a reverse weight shift to your back foot. On the right, we worked on feeling as if we're going to move towards our target with our forward swing. So as the club is going forward, so will your weight. So as you go back, you kept your head right where it started. You didn't sway to the right. And then as you come through, you kept that left heel down. And you can see how much better you move now. Your hips are completely inside the box, and your head is closer. So there's a big, big difference between those two swings. So you need to practice this technique and get comfortable with it so that it happens when you don't think about it.
Very good, Tony.